Hello and welcome to Military Mantra. In this interview, we have today Lieutenant Colonel Amol Awate from the Indian Army, who have served for around 2 decades. And in this interview, we'll try to understand his journey of joining the Indian Army, life in the Indian Army, and various life lessons that he has learned over his service in the Indian Army. And now that he is an IAS officer, also about how life today looks for him. So thanks a lot, sir, for accepting the invite and coming on this session.
Thank you. Thank us a lot for calling me, Akash.
So my first question to you would be, how was your life before joining the Indian Army, and what was your motivation to join the forge back then?
I was a college student, and as a child, I always saw only one option. I always wanted to become an army officer. And I was just sharing it with some other person just before you, is that my father worked with the Maharashtra State Road Transport Corporation. Correct. And we always used to have a watchman outside our house. And that watchman was the most fearful person. My mom used to always tell me that he's the most dangerous person, and he used to wear his uniform, he used to have a stick in his hand, he used to wear a cap. So as a child, when I was in class 1, class 2, I always thought that this is the person whom everyone is afraid of. And that is my first exposure to what a uniform is. Then subsequently, in my college days, I got into the National Cadet Corps. I'm a C certificate holder in NCC. I have attended the Republican Day Camp in 1999. I went for the youth exchange program to Bangladesh. And with all these things at the back of my mind, I appeared for the National Defense Academy. I cleared it in my third attempt. And that's the reason I decided to clear the Combined Defense Services in my first attempt and save on to about a year of my seniority. So that is something, was the background on which my candidate for the Combined Defense Services came to play. And in 2000, I appeared for the Combined Defense Services. That was my first attempt, and I was fortunate enough to get into the service.
Understood, sir. So if you could also speak about your experience in the SSB and what tips you would like to give to the aspirants who would be, appearing for Service Selection Board.
SSB is a very unique interview. It carries a historic relevance as to how the Britishers used to select its officers. And it is a time-tested institution in itself. The SSB being in 3 parts. One is the psychological test, then there is the GTO, that is the group testing officer, and lastly is the personal interview, and then is the conference. As of now, there is something called screening thing. In our time, there was no screening. Any person who used to go for the services selection board used to attend it for 4 days, and then used to get recommended or not recommended. So my personal experience is be very natural. My personal experience is you should get it with the current affairs which are happening at that juncture, with a special reference to international relations, with a special reference to military warfare, with a special reference to what's happening in the country. And it has to be multifaceted. You should generally know about democracy. You should know about the welfare schemes of government. You should know about what the political system existing. You should know about how is the economy doing. You should know about what's happening in the sports. And I'm just saying it is just a knowledge about those things. But yes, when you go for the interview, you should be able to critically have a view on all those knowledge points. That is something is more important. If I have to give an example, no one asks you a question as to what is the GDP of a certain state. Correct? The state has got the state gross domestic product. But you as a student should be able to know as to GDP is a national concept and state GDP is a state concept, and what all things are included into it. It's a very normal thing asked at many interviews. But you should know as to what is GDP, how it is calculated, when GDP goes up, what actually happens to the common man, and the connecting questions. So I think interview is all about your personality and the knowledge you carry.
Understood, sir. Sir, we hear something called as, officer-like qualities, OLQs, which is being tested in SSB. Now that you have been an officer, now you're retired, and now you become an IAS officer. According to you, what do you understand, or what is your perspective about officer-like qualities and how they can be developed?
Officer-like qualities are the basic qualities which a person should have in his personality. Integrity, hard work, nationalism, love for the country, love for environment. These are the basic qualities. On average, any person who have grown in on average circumstances in our country will have those qualities. Yes, you will have to polish it. Correct. You will have to, you may have a certain quality, but till the time in your conduct and in your speech, if you're not able to convey those qualities to the person or the interview board, I think those qualities will not come out. Correct. Nowadays, I have also seen that there are, many coaching classes which will tell you that, we will get this quality into you. I don't think things work out that way. Correct. Things which are natural, because, all the people who are going to conduct the interview, they are the people who have studied the service selection board system for years together. If they get, like, in a week, say, 100 students from different SSB, they are assessing 100 students. So they are very clear cut. They have got very clear cut idea as to how to know as to what the officer like qualities are. So I guess, we are not required to be, independent of the facts. We are not required to pretend. But I think the basic qualities, what we have got in ourselves to become a good citizen of a country, I think those are the officer like qualities which the SSB board will always look for.
Okay. So, sir, you told me that you cleared the CDS. So after that, you went to the academy. So if you could share any experiences that you have from the academy which you still cherish, what would that be?
Many experiences, and any person who goes to academy will make wonderful memories. I am 109 regular. We passed out in December 2001. And what bond which you make with your course-mates, what bond you make with your seniors is unique. Even those sort of bonds I don't see in any other form in the country existing today. The interest and the dedication which your instructors, that is the officers who are your platoon commanders and your company commanders, they take in your training is phenomenal. I have never seen our instructor, not seen around us 24 hours. Even if you are sleeping in our cabins for, 4 to 5 hours, our instructor is planning something for us. And that planning is to make us a good officer. That planning is to educate about different aspects of military and different aspect of, warfare existing at that time. So I think wonderful bond, wonderful memories. One of the memories, if you want me to ask, was about what generally we have got in academy about horse riding. So I was a very good horse rider. I always enjoyed horse riding. And I got a very nice memory that once we went on a hack ride, and we started the hack ride early in the morning, and we were in mountains for 3 days. Like we crossed the Shivalik mountains in Dehradun, and we went to Roorkee and on the horseback, and we stayed in Roorkee for one night, and again we came back. So incidentally, in one of the incidences, my horse broke his leg. And the first time I realized that it was, away from any roadhead and nowhere the horse could be recovered. And the first time I realized the way of coming out of is that you have to shoot your own horse. And that
Okay.
is something which was done at that time, because you can't carry a horse out of jungle. It's a huge animal. No one can carry 600 700 kg. Human being can be taken out. And that was the first experience where I thought that love for the animal, where I thought the harshness of military life. And first time I realized that adventure is not about only happiness. You do end up getting rude memories of your adventure. So I think that hack ride where I lost my horse, and then the way it was evacuated, so that is something are very close to me.
Understood, sir. So, sir, after the academy, which regiment did you join, and what was your, thought process or motivation to join that regiment?
Okay, I belong to the most elite and one of the most oldest regiments of the Indian Army, the Brigade of Guards.
Okay.
And I belong to the 18th Battalion of Brigade of Guards. Mine was a unique batch which actually passed out from IMA after the attacks on the Parliament. And we never went back to our peacetime locations. We were we passed out like as if we are going into war. So Operation Parakram was declared in December
Hmm.
2021 after the attacks on the Parliament. And so we never got an opportunity to go to peacetime locations. So the peacetime location of my unit was in Babina, and operationally we were somewhere in the border area of Rajasthan. So I landed up over there, right? Passed out from the academy. We went on leave for 21 days of leave. The attack on Parliament happened in 3 to 4 days, so our leaves were cut short. And just after spending about 6 to 8 days at our home, we were directly called to the border areas. And then during that place for 1 year, the complete army in Operation Parakram was in border areas. So that is what my first experience and first memory is going to my unit. And that was a unique thing just because 24 hours you were with your troops, 24 hours you were with your officers. And most important thing for that 1 year is that I being from a mechanized infantry unit where there is a lot of weightage which is given to equipment. For 24 hours, you are with your equipment. So there was, so much of learning. The tank is a very complicated equipment. Learning was so much in that initial days. I think the combination of knowing your troops, knowing your work professionally, and knowing your equipment was something unique for me.
Understood, sir. So if you could also describe, what were, as an army officer, how does your role, responsibility, and a routine on any ideal day look like?
Normal day in any fighting arm in infantry unit, you will find there's a lot of relevance given to your PT and your sports. PT is with the intention of staying physically fit because as an army officer, the requirement of an operation or a military operation can come anytime. And the basic backbone of any military person that he should be a physically fit individual. Second is sports. Sports is with the intention of having group sports where you play sports with your troops. And those sports are something which will inculcate the quality of working as a team. Office generally starts early in the morning at about 8:30 and it continues till about 1:30. And office is all about doing your official work, which includes normal administration. That will include, taking care of, documentation related to your equipment. That will be related to your troops going on leave, coming back from leave, their interviews, related to documentation of your troops as far as, their part two orders of their courses, their family members, or, what all issues they face. So I think that is what your administrative work is. By about 2:30, you're back to your home, you have a lunch, and take a rest for about half an hour, 45 minutes. And evening about 3:30, 4 o'clock, you are back to your sports fields where you play sports till about 6:30. And then you go back. Generally, young officers generally go back and study for a couple of hours because that is the only time when they get to study. And as a mechanized infantry officers, we had to like do the armored bios, we had to do the mechanized infantry bios, we had to do the commando course. So initial 3 to 4 years, it is heavily in favor of studies. So in the evening you studies, and then you get a early break in the night so that you sleep comfortably and get ready for the next day.
Understood, sir. Sir, I have heard about Commando Course as well. So how was your experience? How tough was it, and how did you, went through that process of becoming getting into the Commando Course and going through that process?
The heading of the commando course, that when you go there, it's a heading that we make men out of boys. So that is the heading which is written over there. And unique experience, the morale of the complete commando course after 40 days, during our days it was 42 days, is that it proves that human body has got absolutely no limits. And that limits are in the sense like a fish can't walk, correct? A bird can't swim, but human body can fly in an aircraft, you can run on your feet, and you can swim also. A horse, I am a good horse rider. Horse can run for a kilometer with the fastest possible speed. But a horse, if you make it run for like 5 kilometers, it will fall down, it will have a heart attack. But a human being, you realize with 30 kgs back weight on your back with a 7 kg rifle, you run for 40 kilometers. No animal can do it. Once you finish your commandos after 42 days, there is absolutely no block as far as mental and as far as physical is concerned. You are so motivated, you're so well groomed, you understand the limits of human body, and that is something which is going to be the back of your mind throughout your career in the army. So my experience were unique. I really learned a lot.
Answers, sir. I also know that you also had a UN posting. So how was your experience there operating under the UN, probably with other countries as well?
Yeah, United Nations posting was a great opportunity. I was posted with the United Nations in 2013 to 14. First exposure to work with armies of different countries in at the airport and at the meeting places. We had a close interaction with the Pakistani army itself. So at one juncture, you are core enemies of each other when it comes to issues in JNK, or maybe when it comes to have your strategy as far as warfare is concerned. But again, in United Nations, the North Q Brigade, which I was a part of, is the Indian Brigade, and the South Q Brigade, which is a Pakistani brigade.
Okay.
In few occasions we did interact with each other, and totally different domain. There you are working together, you're functioning together for the mandate of the United Nations. So I guess this is one of the strongest memory which I enjoyed with few Pakistani troops and which Pakistani officers. They do respect you a lot. We also respected them a lot, and the relationship was always very professional.
Understood, sir. So since you have spent around 2 decades in the Indian Army, if I can ask you, any three life lessons that you have learned from your service which you still cherish and remember, what would they be? Any three?
I will tell you first. I think in army the basic thing one has to take care is, I think, is physical fitness. If you're physically fit, you will do good in your basic courses. If you're physically fit, you will always be cherished by your troops because you will end up playing all the sports. Correct. I was not that physically fit, but over a period of time, I have learned the quality of keeping myself physically fit. And being physically fit, you will be, enjoying your life too. Second important quality, I think, nowadays is, doing good on your basic courses. And that is something which will justify as to, how you're going to do in your career. Correct. So I think basic courses are important. And third thing, I think, off late, which I feel is very important, is being happy with whatever you get in army, is being happy and being satisfied with whatever you are doing on your personal front, on your professional front. You should always be a professional soldier. You should always be physically fit. But maybe sometimes in your life, you feel that things shall not happen as you wanted them to be. You should just leave it at that juncture, concentrate to other things, and overall you should stay happy, you should stay contented, you should give a lot of time wherever possible to your families, you should interact a lot with your troops. I think these are the three important qualities, I guess.
Understood, sir. So, sir, once you got retired, what was your motivation to, write the UPSC CSC and, want to become an IAS? How did that motivation come for you?
I think many places I saw that the powers of a district magistrate are very, very unique in itself. I was in 46 Rashtriya Rifles in Jammu and Kashmir
Okay.
in 2008 to 2010. And I was the Baramulla town commander of 46 Rashtriya Rifle.
Okay.
That is one important company in main center of the Baramulla town. And there I realized that DC and the district collector, the powers he has got as far as the good of a country is good of the district is concerned, I think they are unique. He enjoys power in health. He enjoys power in education. He enjoys power in social development, implementation of government scheme. He is an executive magistrate that he has got judicial powers with him.
Hmm.
Means he is the person who actually can run the district. And if you have got a good person sitting at that place, there is so much of work which can be done for the people of that area. That was my first experience. I also met a couple of officers when I was in the United Nations. Again, I met a couple of officers when I was posted in Northeast. So over a period of time, I realized that the Indian Administrative Service is a wonderful and a very unique service. And most of the people, when they leave army after 20 years of their mandatory pensionable service, they look into management colleges, they look into a second career into corporate. But during COVID time, I thought that, let me see if there is an opportunity left. I just, went through the UPSC notification for the 2021, which had come in 2020. And I realized that I had one last attempt. And that is how I studied during that duration, during the COVID times. And I was fortunate enough that I cleared in my first attempt, and I also got the service of my choice. And that is how I left army and I came to the civil services.
Nice, sir. So if you could briefly tell us, how was your preparation strategy in terms of clearing the written exam?
For the civil services?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Civil services has got three stages of the examination. One is the prelims, which has got general studies and a CSAT. General studies is about general knowledge, which will have everything, right? Ancient history, medieval, modern, economic, geography, current affairs, everything it will have. CSAT has got two major parts into it. About 40% is English, and about 60% is something related to, data analysis, or maybe mathematics, or maybe, distance and time. So it's like, 40% English and about 60% is something related to mathematics. So prelims is a major hurdle. So major elimination happens in prelims. You will find almost 12 lakh forms been filled. and very less number of them. I guess 30-35,000 must be passing the prelims. And once you pass your prelims, you go for the mains, and you have to write about 9 papers over there. That includes your general studies papers. There is a paper on essay. There is a paper on ethics. There is a paper on compulsory English. There is a paper on compulsory mother tongue. In my case, it was Marathi. And then there are 2 subjects which you choose specially for yourself. That is the special subjects. I had chosen geography. Being an army officer and having served all the country, I think geography was the easiest subject for me. And after you finish with your mains, you go for an interview in Delhi. And the interview is conducted for about 45 minutes to an hour. And then the merit list comes. And as per your merit, the service is allotted to you. 2 wonderful movies which I saw. One is 12th Fail, if you watch it in recent times. And also there is a web series on Amazon Prime called Aspirant. So they are the perfect way you can understand as to how the preparation stage of a student goes when they appear for the unique service of the civil services. And very unique service. I'll add one more thing to it. My batch of about 183 IAS officers in Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration. More than 80% are engineers. There are people who have done their post graduations from management colleges. There are lawyers. There are specialist doctors. The average age of my course is more than 29 years. Correct. So that's the uniqueness. The best of the crowd comes to Mussoorie, and it is so much of learning. It is so much of good experience of interacting with some of the best minds in the country. So I guess civil services, again, as the army is a very unique and a wonderful career itself.
Understood, sir. So you have been through SSB interview and you have also gone through the UPSC IAS interview. So what qualities are they looking according to you in the IAS interview when they interview for, let's say, 45 to 1 hour?
IAS interview, I guess your knowledge has amply been tested when you have gone through the prelims, and your writing skills have been checked when, like, how you write your mind onto a piece of paper, that has already been checked when you go through the combination of the mains examination. So interview is all about your personality. Interview is all about your interpretation on a specific subject. And with the army background, I was one of the toppers in the complete civil services. I got 201 marks in interview. I guess that was one of the biggest score anyone has got in civil services 2021. I'm very happy about that. Don't boast about it, but I need to tell about it just because the army background did play a very important role. They asked me few critical questions as far as India's borders are concerned. They asked me few critical questions as far as India's defense preparedness is concerned. And those are the points, I think, to which, just because of my knowledge about those points, or maybe being personally involved into those issues, I had a very clear cut idea as to what are the solutions and what are the different aspects one need to study. They asked me about the Sir Creek issue between India and Pakistan in the state of Gujarat. And they asked me about the celebration of the Republican Day parade. Is it required? And so much of money we spent. But maybe with being a part of the organization that the Indian Army, and seeing that issues firsthand, I was very comfortably able to answer those questions, and that is how it justified such a high score for the interview.
Understood, sir. So now that you are an IAS officer, if you can, describe how does your role and routine now looks like?
Day starts bit early. Day starts bit late. In army, it is to start early. But here, my office continues in the evening till about 7:38. Correct. And there's a lot of stress on physical fitness when I was in army. I think that due to increase of work as far as your work sitting in office is concerned, the physical fitness thing has gone down. But yes, there is so much of satisfaction in the job of an IAS officer because you are directly in touch with people. You can see the effect of your orders passed in the morning by evening. If someone comes to you and says that I have got a problem, I have not been issued with a ration card, with the powers at your disposal, you can immediately ensure that the person is connected to a bank. You can give a call to the bank manager, will immediately do it. You can, get his Aadhaar card connected to it. And, in few hours, you can issue a ration card to that person. That ration card the person can take to the fair price shop, and you can tell the fair price shop, now this is the ration card, please issue ration to him. And in the idea which came to you in the morning and in the evening, you will find that person with a bag of 35 kgs of ration on his back going back to his home. That fast reaction can, I guess, it can only happen in the Indian administrative service. I don't think this sort of job satisfaction you can get anywhere.
Understood. So my final question to you would be, what will be your message to all the aspirants who wants to join the armed forces?
Armed forces is a very, very unique service, and it's not who wants to join. I will go one step ahead and say how many of us you will get opportunity. Correct. It has become very difficult now for the National Defense Academy and the Combined Defense Services. You have to fight, and you have to make yourself capable to get into the armed forces. Is no more easy career option. uh, the things I will tell them to, is to stay physically fit, stay motivated, love your country a lot. Once you get into the armed forces, you love your organization a lot. Take a lot of pride in your uniform. Take a lot of pride in the trust with the country and the people of the country has, bestowed on your shoulders. When you look at an army officer, that is the most respected job, the country can offer to an individual. And I think every army officer who is, or every young person who is aspiring to become an army officer, he should always believe and always keep it at the back of his mind that the uniform what he is going to wear in the future is not a uniform. That is the trust which the country, that is the trust which this democracy, that is the trust with this history of 5,000 years is given on his back, and the history of almost Indian army history of more than 300 500 years, that is on his back. So he's carrying that history, he's carrying that trust, he's carrying that respect which has been given in the uniform.
Yeah, got it, sir.
And it should be worth it, actually.
Yeah, true, sir. So thanks a lot, sir, for your time on this session. I hope a lot of people who will watch this interview will gain insight about the life in army and also as an IAS, and many of them will get motivated. Thanks a lot, sir, again for your time. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. In fact, we have been planning to talk for a very long time, but I have been keeping very busy being a probationer over here.
Okay.
So the moment I
Not
found some time, I think I should get it done. Thank you so much for calling me on the show, and best of luck to you, and stay connected.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.